Howdy folks, hope you're all enjoying your weekend, and welcome back to Subnautica Below Zero, where we finally upgraded the sea truck. We can now take it down to a depth of 650 metres, and I am equipped with a laser cutter, which means I can properly actually explore the interior of the various different wrecked sections of the Mercury 2 starship. Don't need the depth upgrade for that, but I definitely need the laser cutter, because without it, it's impossible to get through sealed bulkhead doors like this. And it was around the wreck of the Mercury 2 that I found 3 of the 4 prawn suit bits, parts, sections, schematics, whatever, that I actually needed. It's very, very frustrating. So close, but so far. And I'm hoping that I'm going to find the final piece of the prawn suit schematic somewhere in here on the other side of these sealed bulkhead doors. Oh! Alien containment schematics. Nice, I'll have that. Finally start my fish breeding program once I get this built. It's all fuel for the bioreactor. So it's already been worth coming here. What's this?
My instincts are never wrong. Stefanos has always been overly cautious. He hates taking risks, which I suppose is understandable when you're in the back end of the galaxy. But no risk, no reward. Elliot finds evidence of alien architecture on a completely uncharted planet, and he expects me to ignore that? Orion's belt, I would be an absolute fool. We've done some scans, and while
Yeah, I'll cut that one short for you. Basically, it's a recording of another woman complaining about how all of the men around her are weak, ineffectual fools, and only she has the courage, fortitude and stamina to do what it is that needs to be done. Welcome to Subnautica Below Zero.
Orion's belt, this all went sideways. How could I have known that so much would go wrong? I failed my crew. No, I don't fail. I didn't get into the...
Yeah, same shit, different PDA. This time, after wrecking her ship and killing all of her crew, it's not her fault, because she's a strong, independent woman. It's the fault of all the weak, ineffectual men around her who didn't protest loudly enough when she was ignoring all the perfectly good advice that they were giving her. Now, your mileage may vary, but speaking personally, I did start to get a little bit tired of listening to all of this bullshit, whiny, man-hating drivel scattered around on the PDAs within the game after about the first 14 or 15 times I was forced to listen to it. Your mileage may, of course, vary, but it just seems like Subnautica Below Zero tries really, really hard to piss off and alienate what must be something like 90% of its target audience by just lecturing them over and over and over about how terrible they are for being born with a pair of balls. It tries really, really hard and very nearly succeeds. Meanwhile, I don't know if you noticed, but while I was busy being told what a bad person I was again, I found the first part of a schematic for something that's called a parallel processing unit. Now, I can't remember exactly what it was that I needed that for, having played through this much at least in early access. But I know it had something to do with Marguerite. So I'm keeping my eyes open for another 2. Although, and I don't know this for sure, but, well, you know, I've played Subnautica enough to know how this sort of thing tends to work. The fact that I need 3 of them, and the fact that the Mercury is split into 3 sections, probably indicates that I'm going to find 1 piece in each section, and I'm going to have to start exploring further. But I'm still going to, you know, I mean, there's still plenty to see. I haven't actually opened every door inside this section, so there's probably stuff lurking around in here that I'm still going to need. Although I'm rapidly approaching the point... Ah, hang on, what's this? Sealed supply crate. Yeah. Fine. Lots of metal scrap around here. Aha! There is a second piece of the parallel processing unit inside this part of the wreck. On the other side of that blocked doorway there was a panel on the wall. Oh, I probably should have mentioned earlier. You might have noticed that things that I can interact with are given an orange highlight. This is actually one of the accessibility options. Go into the game's main menu and you can highlight objects that you can interact with, which makes it very handy when identifying things that you need. I mean, the panel on the other side of that blocked door probably wouldn't have been as obvious. See if I can find it again, because I need to find a way into that room. Which way was it? Down here? Yes, it was down here. Okay, here we go. There. That panel wouldn't have been quite as obvious if I didn't have the highlight on. Now I can't get through the door, so that must mean there's another way in, probably via a vent. So I'm looking for vent access. Keeping my eyes open for one end of a vent that's going to lead me into that room downstairs, because the doorway is blocked with rubbish and I can't move it. I was thinking maybe if I had the propulsion cannon, but no. It's that vent over there at the back. So I need to find the other end of that vent. And I haven't noticed any vents while exploring this part of the wreck. Because if I had, I would have definitely investigated them. So there must still be something that I've missed here. A room that I haven't explored. Let's see what's inside this supply crate. It doesn't take too long. Oh, synthetic fibres. Right, yeah, of course. The exact thing that I was lacking so much in the previous episode. It doesn't take long to cut open supply crates. Doors, on the other hand, take a while. Yeah, I keep picking up these reactor rods, but I'm never going to build a nuclear reactor.
Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
I don't know why I'm bothering to pick them up. Okay, oxygen. Keep exploring. Or should I just, you know... Yeah, let's top it. I mean... Actually, no, there's another oxygen plant right there. Ah! There's a hole in the deck. Can I get through? I can. It's down here. Please be another fragment of a prawn suit. Now that would be too helpful. Some ribbon plants. Yeah. If I'm going to go exploring down there, not knowing where I'm going to end up, let's get a full oxygen tank before we do that. Okay. So, in here, turn right, through the hole next to the prawn suits, and through here. And what do we got? Another PDA.
Sol should pay me more to lead these missions. I saved the whole damn crew from destruction. Mercury 2 was nearly obliterated by an immensely powerful energy beam.
Yeah. And why was that, Diana? Was it because you ignored the advice of all of those stupid men? Anyway, while Diana's bleating on about how none of this is her fault and she should really be better paid, I've just found the schematics for the reinforced diving suit. Now, I initially thought, yay, because the description of the reinforced diving suit tells you that it protects you from extremes of temperature, and I know that later on I'm going to have to be exploring the mainland, where it gets really, really, really cold. Unfortunately, the description of the reinforced diving suit is not being entirely truthful. It does protect you from extremes of temperature, but only at the upper end of the temperature scale. It does absolutely nothing to insulate you against the cold. Wait. Did she just say that her days of risky missions should be behind her?
Whatever didn't want us on the planet doesn't mind when we leave.
Well then, Diana, you should probably stop ignoring everybody's advice and volunteering your ship and crew for risky missions. But hey, what do I know? I'm a man, so my opinion doesn't count. Just like the opinions of all the men that told brave Captain Diana that coming here was a really, really bad idea. I mean, just look around you at all the evidence of how great an idea it was to bring the ship here. Meanwhile, I do eventually find the other end of the vent access that I need to navigate in order to get into that sealed room and get at this parallel processing unit.
But this might just make it worth it.
Might as well pick up the copper wire while we're here. Got plenty of oxygen. Then again, it's probably going to take a while to cut through this sealed door, so let's not waste it. It does take a long time to cut through these sealed doors, which is kind of anxious when you're on a timer due to your limited oxygen supply. And then of course I have to scan that on the other side. There it is, second part of the parallel processing fragment. Right, 2 down, 1 to go. Now let's get the hell out of here before I drown. 72 seconds. Yeah, this will be fine. I can just remember the way to... Oh, there's an oxygen plant. That's... yeah, we're good, we're good. Okay. I have now completely investigated every single part of this particular section of the Mercury 2. I've found 2 of the 3 parallel processing unit things. Although I still can't remember exactly what it is I need them for, but I know it's got something to do with Marguerite. So this almost certainly means I'm going to find the 3rd and final part in one of the other 2 bits of the Mercury 2 Starship wreckage. And right now I can't remember exactly where they were, although they're not going to be too far from this section of the wreck. But one of the other reasons as to why I'm over here at this end of the map in the first place is because I've now got a brand spanking new Mark II depth upgrade for the sea truck, which allows me to take it safely down to depths of 650 meters. And there's stuff over here that I need to investigate at that kind of depth. An architect fragment. So we're going to go and see if we can find that, and hopefully move the story along a bit. So it's back down past the Sea Monkey Caves, and we're already reaching what was previously our maximum crush depth. When we were here last week, we had to leave the sea truck here and investigate further using the sea glide. No such problems this time around. Now, there's all kinds of useful stuff down here. Well, stuff that I assume is going to be useful, stuff like nickel. I found the occasional bit of magnetite. Stuff that I haven't actually needed yet, and don't have any schematics that require, but which I'm pretty sure is going to be useful for something at some point. Plenty of rubies and diamonds down here though, things that I definitely do have a need for, but which at the moment I have plenty of. Also plenty of these outcrops of raw materials, titanium there, what looks like copper. None of which are accessible until you have the prawn suit with the drill arm, which of course I don't have at the moment. I only have 3 of the 4 pieces of prawn suit schematic, but well, then again, it's not like I'm exactly short of titanium and copper either. So let's investigate further, see if we can find a way to go deeper. Down to 600 meters now. Still no sign of anything particularly unusual. Oh, I spoke too soon. Okay. I think I remember this actually from early access. There was a bug here that allowed you to take the sea truck inside. But of course... oh, some nickel. Yeah. Like I said, nickel and stuff just lying around all over the place here. There was a bug in early access that allowed you to take the sea truck actually inside that gate. But then of course there was atmosphere inside that gate, so the sea truck couldn't, swim. So you were stuck. And you couldn't swim back out because you're 600 meters down. So... I'm sure they fixed the bug, but I'm not going to take any chances. Right, what do we got? Something alien here. Come on, Alan. Wake up. Ah, architect component. Excellent. Oh, it's a blueprint. We're going to have to actually build this.
This skeleton is very dense, able to handle heavy forces. A good frame for my new form.
Are you okay, Alan?
It is not often that I gaze upon the form of a foreign architect.
Is this place another sort of sanctuary? It's peaceful. Beautiful, even.
As the bacterium spread, the continuation of life became uncertain. This is a place to reflect.
I think I understand.
Right, so, some actual progress. See, the whole point of Below Zero is to find the schematics for and construct the 3 parts of an architect body that you can transfer Alan's consciousness into from your head. So that's 1 down, 2 to go. As is usual by now, after one of these earth-shattering revelations, Alan has very little to say. So I headed back up to the Sea Monkey Caves, just for a poke around, trying to find some more of those elusive schematics contained within the sea monkey nests. And before too long, and I have no idea how I missed it the first time I was down here, I found something interesting. Just keep heading down, and it can be a bit of a tight fit in the sea truck, but oh, what's this?
It is both reassuring and unsettling to rediscover this site after being in storage for so long. My connection to the network grows stronger, however slightly. I hope you will continue to search for more of these.
As is also fairly usual, Alan doesn't bother actually telling you what this is, and you have to get out and scan it. It's a marine life analyzer.
New technology
Oh,
acquired.
blueprint synthesized. Quantum locker. Okay. The quantum locker is... how can I put this? Anything that you put into one quantum locker, you can pick out of any other quantum locker. So, for example, if you're engaged in... oh, hello, a sea monkey. What's that? Some nickel? Okay, I'm sure I can find something to ditch in order to take that. I'll drop some titanium. Thank you, Mr. Sea Monkey. So, yes, if you're engaged in a building project, maybe you're building an exploration base miles away from your main base, just build a quantum locker at your main base, dump everything that you need into it, then just take enough to build a multi-purpose room and a quantum locker at your destination, and then you can just grab all of the materials you need from the new quantum locker because they're shared across all of them. So that's actually genuinely useful. I'm going to ditch some more titanium and pick up more of this useful stuff. Rubies, nickel, all kinds of good stuff. Now, it was while investigating the Sea Monkey Caves that I came across something that was more than a little bit suspicious. Who put that light there? Seriously, it didn't get there by itself.
Didn't I tell you to stay away?
From what? I don't even know who you are.
Marguerite Maida's the name. You're on my turf.
Great. Can I come in and warm up?
What part of go away do you not understand, Altera?
I'm not with Altera.
Ah, Marguerite. I was wondering when we were going to bump into her again. Now, judging by the fact that that interaction was triggered when I approached the first light, I think I'm going to be playing a game of Follow the Light. And they shouldn't be too hard to find because, well, you know, they're lights. I do like Marguerite as a character. She's the only character who survived intact from the first Subnautica. And you never got to meet her in the first Subnautica, you only knew about her from the audio logs that she left around and that other people left around talking about her. But she is still very much alive and kicking, and it looks like I found where she lives. At a depth of around 350 metres, right at the bottom. And again, I've no idea how I managed to miss this the first time I was around here. Right at the bottom of the Sea Monkey Caves. Well, not right at the bottom, you can go further down. She has a moon pool and a prawn suit. Can I scan the moon pool? I can scan the moon pool! Oh yes. Oh wait, customised prawn suit, is this it? I was hoping that would be the final prawn suit section I was going to need, but no, it's just a log entry on Marguerite's customised prawn suit. customised with the teeth of the Reaper Leviathan that she killed in the first game. But now I have the moon pool. Large glass dome. And the moon pool's going to be great, because at the moment I don't have a power cell charger. But the moon pool comes with one that recharges whichever vehicle is docked in the moon pool. So that's solved my constantly having to switch out the power cells on the sea truck problem. A new blueprint for a large room. I should probably get in there and speak to Marguerite. But, you know, there's stuff out here that needs scanning. Well, there was. I think I've got it all. Right, let's head inside and see if Marguerite's here. The thing that I liked about the Marguerite character was that she never tried to hide from the truth. She never tried to deny the truth. She always faced facts head on and dealt with them. And she really didn't give a good shit whether or not you approved of or were impressed by her methods. She just did what she thought needed to be done. Even if that meant taking on a Reaper Leviathan in hand-to-hand combat. Oh, fuck. Hi, Marguerite.
I told you to stay off my land.
You trained that thing?
Next time I'll let him tear you to ribbons, Altera.
I'm not with Altera. I'm Robin Ayu. I'm looking for information about my sister Sam. I think you might have crossed paths.
Bull crap. I suggest you take the time you need to come to your senses and then get off my sea base. If you're not Altera, why don't you disable that damn tracking satellite tower instead of barging into my sea base? Maybe once Altera's off my back, I'll remember something about your sister. There's some junk on that table that might help. I couldn't get it to work.
Oh, yeah, I think I remember now. That's what I need the parallel processing unit for from the wreck of the Mercury 2. It's a component that goes into this thing. Test override module fragment, which I need to disable the satellite that is pissing off Marguerite. And that's the schematic for the Snow Fox, which I absolutely don't need.
That far out to sea, swimming back for land wasn't an option. I'd die from exhaustion long before I made it to shore. All I could do was survive long enough to wash up somewhere. I felt a suction, and suddenly there were vast jaws rising out of the water towards me. It had taken hours for the Reaper's corpse to float to the surface. Using the knife, I clambered up her flank and got a perch on top. I figured she'd float for a few days at least, enough for me to catch my breath. But would she sink before or after I died of thirst? I had a knife, a repair tool, and 3 liters of water. At least I wasn't gonna die of exhaustion. Now, those Reapers, they're practically all muscle, but there's some fat in there. I was able to keep warm and drink the water. And I didn't have much, but I had that repair tool, so I had a spark. It took a week to light that first fire. And I know more about the burning properties of Reaper fat than I ever cared to. I had to ration fires, but as they burned, I could smoke meat that I carved out of the beast's rib cage.
The thing I like about Marguerite is because in a game that is largely full of either underwritten or badly written characters, remember this is after I think 2 or 3 rewrites, she's the only one that stands out. She is a strong female character, but the fact that she happens to be female is completely incidental. It's got nothing to do with what makes her strong. And you don't have to be told that she's strong in the same way that you didn't have to be told that Princess Leia or Ellen Ripley were strong. And it didn't come easy to them either. They had to work at it. They had to overcome challenges. Characters like Ellen Ripley, Princess Leia, and Marguerite here in Below Zero, they're not Mary Sues. Success was never just handed to them. They don't magically overcome every challenge set before them for no good reason whatsoever, unlike certain other strong female characters like Rey from the Star Wars sequels, or Captain Marvel. The difference, of course, is that on the one hand, you've got some very well-written characters. The fact that they're female is completely incidental. They're just well-written characters. And on the other hand, well, you don't. And it's all about the fact that they're female, when it should be about the fact that they're good characters. Marguerite is a well-written character. And the fact that she is so well-written when every other character in the game isn't, is a source of just mystification for me. It's almost as if she was as well-written as she was completely by accident. Or perhaps because she's the only character that survived from the first Subnautica game, where all of the characters were actually quite well written, where the scriptwriter wasn't trying to write a whole bunch of Mary Sue female characters and a whole bunch of stupid, weak and ineffectual male characters. They were just trying to write good characters to flesh out their good story. Who'd have thought? It's almost as if you take care of the writing, the characters will look after themselves. Which is kind of ironic considering how many times Below Zero has been rewritten. Hang on a minute. This is all new. We're down to 550-ish meters. These purple crystals.
Proceed with caution. A Leviathan class creature.
Oh shit. Hang on a minute. A Leviathan? Well, it's about damn time. I've played through the entirety of Below Zero thus far and I've never come across a Leviathan. I mean, there's, squid sharks and all manner of different kinds of snurglies at lesser depths, but ooh, kyanite crystals. Hang on a minute. Kyanite crystals are real, they actually exist, but they're supposed to only form at extreme pressure and high temperatures. Ooh, prawn suit torpedo arm fragment. There's all kinds of good stuff down here. But yeah, because you could only find kyanite in the original game in the lava caves where the water was really, really hot. Because if you were going to find kyanite anywhere, that's the sort of place that you would. But this is not the sort of place where you would. And it's exactly this kind of lazy writing that riddles Below Zero. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not a bad game. But it's as if they spent all the time and effort writing strong, independent female characters who don't need no man, instead of writing a story that makes sense and is believable in the way that the first one was, where most of the resources that you found were found in places where you would find those kind of resources. All of the characters were just well-written characters. They didn't give a shit what gender they were. The game wasn't trying to lecture you. It was trying to entertain you, because it's a game and that's a game's job. In the original game, I can remember living in mortal fear of the Reaper Leviathan around the wreck of the Aurora, because I had to go to the Aurora and it was right next to where I lived, so I was constantly feeling the danger posed by that Reaper Leviathan. In Below Zero, I'd forgotten that Leviathans even existed until now. And it wasn't until this point, when I realised what had been missing more than anything from Below Zero, and I'm not just talking about well-written characters here, that sense of fear. That sense of morbid dread that underlined everything that you did in the original game, whenever you went more than 200 metres away from your base. Because of that constant threat that was hanging over your head, that at any time you could run into something that could chew up your sea moth and spit it out without even pausing for breath. And that, up until now at least, in Below Zero, has been oh shit, there it is. This is the first time in Below Zero I've actually been moderately afraid. But the thing is, even though I haven't installed it yet, I picked up the Sea Truck Perimeter Defense System in Marguerite's sea base. And with that, I don't even need to be afraid of a Leviathan. I can't kill a Leviathan with the Perimeter Defense System. It basically sends out an electric shock in a pulse from the Sea Truck. But it will scare it away. So in Below Zero, at this point, the point where you finally encounter something that you should be afraid of, you don't have to be afraid of it. There's just no sense of threat. I think the rot set in Below Zero right after they fired their first scriptwriter, when they started getting their social awareness on and started hiring people based on how good they'd make the company look on a diversity portfolio rather than how good they were at actually doing their jobs. Because I'm picking up stuff here. The Snow Fox schematic that I picked up earlier, which is it's an above water vehicle. The Spy Pangolin schematic that I just picked up. The Spy Pangolin is basically a robot pangolin that is designed to be able to get into areas that you cannot get into and conduct surveillance. And I can remember playing through early access and you actually needed these things. Well, not so much the Snow Fox. The Snow Fox has always been terrible. But you absolutely needed the Spy Pangolin in order to advance the plot. But a couple of script rewrites later, and most of this stuff you do not actually need in order to get to the end of the game. You certainly don't need the Spy Pangolin to complete the game. And I know this because I've now completed the game. So why is it still here? And in fact, why is it specifically here? 400 meters down in the Crystal Caves. Because the Spy Pangolin was designed to observe pangolin colonies. And the pangolins are technically aquatic creatures, but they're not fish. They breathe air. They live on the ice floes. And they hunt fish. So what is somebody doing 400 meters down here with a spy pangolin? There are no pangolins down here to be observed. It just doesn't make any sense. And that's Below Zero's problem. So much of it just doesn't make any sense. And it feels as if there are things in Below Zero that are only in Below Zero because they'd already been developed in earlier versions of the script. And so they thought, well, we've put the time and effort in, we may as well keep them. But they didn't bother to write a good reason for that. And it's this kind of sloppy writing, which, believe it or not, is the best they could do after, I think, 3 rewrites, that is Subnautica's Below Zero's biggest problem. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not a bad game. It certainly has its issues. The lack of any real sense of threat or danger, the terribly written characters, and the plot elements that just don't make sense. The way the game constantly lectures you that you're a bad person because you were born without a vagina. I mean, none of this helps, but it's not a bad game. It certainly has its moments. It is entertaining when it's not lecturing you. And there is at least one very well written character. But none of that is even close to being sufficient to elevate Below Zero to the levels of greatness that Subnautica achieved. It's merely enough to prevent it from being irredeemably bad. And another thing that I found Below Zero to be lacking compared to the original Subnautica, as well as the fact that, yes, I'm just, driving right past a squid shark and don't really care because I'm not really experiencing any kind of sense of threat. Something that people have been commenting on in previous videos in this walkthrough. Where are all the Jingles moments when you shit your pants? And I'm sorry guys, but it's just not here. But there's that lack of a sense of wonder as well. In the original game, right up until the very end, I was constantly finding new things to be amazed at. But at this point in the playthrough, and I'm probably about halfway through, I've seen almost everything that there is to see. I think there are only 3 other places that I actually need to go to. And at this point, I'm not really playing because I want to see what happens next. I'm playing just because, well, I've put this much time in. I may as well see how it ends. And we are going to get to see how it all ends. Because, despite my criticisms, Below Zero is not a bad game. It just feels like a massive missed opportunity, given the greatness of the source material that they had upon which to build Below Zero. So I'll be sticking with it, and hopefully some of you will be along for the ride, because certain parts of Below Zero do definitely manage to rise above the mediocre. Wow. Talk about being damned by faint praise. Somehow, I can't imagine Unknown Worlds proudly putting that on the box art for the game. Subnautica Below Zero. Some parts of it managed to rise above the mediocre. The Mighty Jingles 2021. Well, tough. That's the best they're getting from me. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video at the very least, and I do hope you're all having a good weekend, because that is it for today, as I navigate my way home through the merely annoying and not really at all threatening Snurglies. As always, take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.